All right, so we just finished our Google form for our Manor Castles #1 for our farthings, and that'll be recorded in. Now we're going to go ahead to our Google Classroom, and we're going to go ahead and open up the Design Your Manor Map project. So go ahead to our Google Classroom. And if we look there, it's under Design Your Own Manor. There are two parts in here. I have my directions and what you need to complete in. And then I also have an example slides that I posted to kind of show you how I want things to look like, okay? So we're gonna kind of have both open and we're gonna be talking and going through them. Okay, so we always said manors had to be self-sufficient and self-contained, right? And to do that, they had to have all the things they needed to be able to function that way. So you're going to be designing your very own manor. You're going to give your manor a name. You're going to give your manor design features of where you want things to be located. And you're going to answer some questions to help me know that you understand how manors really work. Okay? So your objective is you're going to be creating almost like a map, laying out how your manor will look. You're going to create a key that goes along with it, so I know what that shape is or what that picture is. That is your manor's, vassal houses or your manor's church. And you can use symbols, so like shapes. You could use realistic kind of images and drawings. You can use kind of cartoon drawings created from the internet. And I'll show you some examples so you visually know what that looks like. And your key and your map must include all the items that I'll provide you on the following slides. All your slides should have images added to it. So all of them have a requirement for something being put into it. So you need to follow the directions on what that is. And you want to make sure it's good quality. Don't do your font in size 6 and I can't read it. Don't make your font white with a white background. You create it so it's visually appealing and showing me you took time and quality of work. Edit it. I shouldn't see lines underneath every word because you spelled them all right when you have a spell checker on your computer, okay? So take a time. It is a project and worth more points. There are two methods you can use to create your actual diagram. You can choose to do a manor map in a Google drawing like we've used in the past. My examples I'm going to show are in that. Or some of the kids have worked in this new system. How many of you have ever used Tinkercad before, okay? If you feel comfortable with it or you want to be a little challenged, you're welcome to use that system. My only thing with that is I know very little about it. So I can't really help you problem solve on certain things. So if you feel comfortable using it, I'm fine. It's kind of a neat system. Here, I'll show you what one of my students did for their public works project. So they did like field and stuff, but you can see they created it with the shapes. Then they put these little Post-its to kind of act as a key and help them identify the different areas, okay? And then you just pull in shapes and you can change the color and you can make it, whatever you want to create it, okay? So if you'd like to use the Tinkercad, you can, but like I said, that has to be something you feel kind of independent with or are willing to explore it and good with it, okay? If you do the manor map from the Google drawing, remember, you want to make a copy, okay, and you want to give it your name. So I would say if I was Sadie, I do Sadie Davis _ my manor map, okay? And then you can create your diagram in there. What is nice about this? If you do the Tinkercad, you're going to eventually have to screenshot it for some different of the slides when I show you. That'll make sense. Remember, when we do our Google drawing, what do we do when we're all done with it and we want to use it? Yes. File, download as a JPEG, right? Because then that makes it accessible for me to enter as one big thing. And if you put all these pieces and parts in it, you want to be able to transfer it as one picture, not as all 28 things you put in it, okay? All right, so let's take a look at my example here that I did, okay? So these are all of the items that have to be included in your map. There's a lot, okay? You have to name your manor. You have to have a village, a castle, a vassal house, a serf hut, fields, pastures. I put pastures twice by accident. Church, monastery, windmill, barn, roads, and a water source. This is an example of how your key can be set up. And then you're going to actually insert pictures into these boxes. You can use this template if you like, or you don't have to, but this gives you a good list of everything that has to be included in the key. So here's what the first slide is. The first slide says I need to name my manor, and I need to include an image that represents my manor. So in the directions up here, it says that we have to include a physical feature in our manor name. So what does physical feature mean? Ben?
The name has to relate to something that's physically there.
Yeah. Yeah, created not by man, right? Always there in nature. So a tree, yes, obviously could be planted by a person, but the forest kind of creates itself. You could be, Lodge Falls, and you can put a waterfall in it as your image. You could be, Sienna Peaceful Grove, okay? And you can have a grove of, like flat land. So I picked oaks, like a forest with trees. And I said the reason why I picked it was for our wonderful Queen Gib and the beautiful oak trees that grace our manor with their presence. Okay? And then you can see in my diagram, I have trees in the background. Okay? I made trees in my background. And you can see that I included all the different pieces and parts here. So I have a water source, I have a church and a monastery, I have a castle, I have surf huts, I have barn, vassal houses, and so forth. Okay, then I took it and made a key. I'll tell you how I did it. I made my Google drawing with all my images first. Then I made a copy of my Google drawing and made that my key, and then started shrinking up all the pictures and labeling them. So I kind of had two drawings going at the same time. If you're doing a Tinkercad, I would do your whole images, and then you can take off individual shapes and copy and paste them. And so I would probably do a Google drawing for your key if you're doing the Tinkercad, and do the Tinkercad for your actual image. Okay? Questions about this part? Okay. All right, this is just another example I did. I named this one Glenwood Manor, and I did kind of like more shapes and cartoon images. So I didn't do realistic pictures. I did kind of, like my little piggy up here, my corn stalk, and my little village, and since it was Glenwood, I made some woods, in it. Okay, so your physical feature has to go into your manor. And then this was my key. Okay? All right, then there's additional slides that ask you to give me more specifics. Think about where you're putting things. Don't just put it random. Have kind of a thought process with it. So my first slide here is about my castle. I need to say, why did I place my castle in the location I did? So I said the Lord and the clergy work together, so I put my castle near the church. Also, the road is nearby to have access to the village. Okay, then the second question was, who lived in the castle on your manor? See 5.3 notes. You can go look at your notes. So a lot of the questions I give you. Now in the directions on your slides, this says I have to insert my map. If it's a Tinkercad, screenshot it. If it's a Google drawing, we download it as a JPEG so we can just keep reusing it, right? Okay? And so you'll delete this box when you're done and insert your picture. You also have to put some kind of shape or circle or some indication showing me where your castle is. So see here, I put a big yellow arrow. In the next slide, it's about the village. The question is, why did you place your village here? And which group of people from our medieval hierarchy would mainly run the shops in a village? So I put my answer there, and I use the circle feature. Now, I added my features in the slides directly. I didn't do that in Google Drawing. But this is the same image from my Google Drawing that I downloaded as a JPEG, and I just keep reinserting. Okay? Questions so far? All right. So there are lots of slides to complete, but this is not due today or even tomorrow. We're working on it in class today and tomorrow, and then finishing up on Thursday. The last slide is, so there's a couple asking about different parts like the surf and vassal huts and the fields and barns. The last slide is you're going to be sharing just the picture of your manor on the Padlet for people to view, and that's going to help you with part of your To Be a Lord homework later this week. So you can, if you're doing a Tinkercad, I would screenshot it in full picture so they can see it. If you're doing a Google Drawing, you already downloaded it as a JPEG and will be able to insert it easy on a Padlet. But don't do that until you're finalized and know what you're doing. Okay? All right. Any questions about the assignment? Okay. Do the design on your own accord. Do not look at my key and replicate it exactly. Okay, use it as a guide, not as what you're copying. Okay? If you have any questions while you're working, please let me know. But we're gonna go ahead and get started on it today. You can design it in whichever program you feel comfortable with. You can start working on your slides after you get that design done, probably tomorrow. Yes?